Hello, Bleeding Critic. This is Dave Carner on Twitter at dcarner. Thanks for having me back. I am ready for my horror therapy appointment. You want a true story, and I have a true story. Actually, I have two true stories, but I'm going to tell you the one that's been kind of on my chest the longest. It happened in 1976 when I was 10. It was the nation's bicentennial year, so there was a lot of hoopla and things of that nature. I lived on 27th Street, which runs along the southernmost border of a little town called Greeley, Colorado. And our house's back fence was up against another fence, chain link fence, and then right south of that was a 4-lane divided highway that separated Greeley from another little town called Evans. And if you cross those 4 lanes of traffic, light traffic, but traffic nonetheless, there was this very steep berm that led up to another level on the opposite side to a chain link fence, and on the other side of that chain link fence was a cemetery, the Evans Cemetery. My friend Jeff and I decided that we were going to record a ghost. So we put a plan together, invited him over to spend the night. He came over. I had one of those little tan cassette recorders that had the separate black microphone with the little on and off switch on it. Well, midnight or so comes around, and so we ditch the house, bring the tape recorder, we cross our fence in the back, cross the divided freeway, and up the embankment to the zinc fence that surrounded the cemetery. And we made our way west until we were at the western northern corner of the cemetery. And our plan was simple. Jump the fence, go to the closest headstone that there was, set up the microphone, and hit play record, and go home. Well, somehow I pulled the straw that said I was going to be the one to set up the cassette player. So there we are in the middle of the night at the Evans Cemetery, and we, as you can imagine for a 10-year-old, that zinc fence was kind of high. So we made our way over the zinc fence, and now we're looking at all this nervous energy. Now this cemetery dated back to at least the 1850s or so, somewhere out in there. So the gravestone closest to us is probably pretty old. Nervous as hell, ran up to the gravestone, put down the tape recorder, hit play record, turn on the microphone, and then I hear this sound. It's the chain link fence. My friend Jeff has ditched me. I am by myself in front of this woman's gravestone, seeing my friend already up and over the fence. I panic. I freak out. I run for the fence as fast as I can, kind of yelling and screaming. I hit the fence. I climb up to the top of the fence, and I put my hands on the top of the zinc fence, and I lose my footing. As you know, the top of a zinc fence is rough, and I was hanging by my palms, full weight, from my palms on this zinc fence, screaming, essentially. Finally, I got my footing and climbed up and over the fence, and screams turned to laughter, and, well, pretty much Jeff laughing at me, and we ran back home. The next day, I went back to collect the tape recorder, brought it home, changed the batteries, rewound the tape, invited Jeff over. He came over, and we played the tape. And what you heard was the click, click, and then you hear some wind, then you hear me yelling, and then hitting the fence, and then screaming, and then the laughter, and then silence. Not really silence, but you could hear the wind And just a few seconds or so after all that noise had ended, a voice, a female voice, really high-pitched, goes, "Pretty hard to get away. Pretty hard to get away." That is my true story. Jeff and I became unfriends after that, and I don't know what happened to the tape, but I hope I never hear that voice again. Well, thanks again, Bleeding Critic, and I don't know what to tell you. I'm glad to finally get that one off of there. And we'll see you around the next one. Salut.